7 years old. I am really into fossil hunting. True story. My mum is very encouraging of this newfound hobby, as it doesn't require her to haul a minivan full of kids to a practice at 7 a.m. on a Saturday. On this particular day, we went to the beach near my house to hunt for fossils. We'd been out there maybe like an hour when I pick up a small grey rock. It's a mammoth's foot! I know it's a mammoth's foot. I can see the toenail. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that this small grey rock is the foot of a 3-million-year-old, 6-ton mammoth. Real talk. The rock is about 4 inches in diameter. So that would be a teeny tiny mammoth with a teeny tiny foot. But regardless, I am utterly confident in my assessment, and so I declare the discovery to my mum. In response to this declaration, my mum could have said, "Yeah, right. Emma, mammoths are huge. Their feet are way bigger than that. And toenails rarely, if ever, survive 3 million years of decomposition and erosion." But what my mum actually said was, "Yeah, maybe. I guess that could be a mammoth's foot. Hey, why don't we go to the museum and see what the experts think?" So we drive to the museum, and we hand in the rock. And we tour the dinosaur exhibition, and we learn about T-Rexes and Stegosaurus and pterodactyls, and then we head home for tea, like every good Irish family. The next morning, Dr. Andrew Jerram, head of paleontology at the museum, phones our house to tell us that the rock is not a mammoth's foot. But rather, it's a 200-million-year-old ichthyosaurus skull. A prehistoric dolphin from the early Jurassic period. And not only that, but it's the best example of such a skull ever found in Ireland. Each of us is born a yeah-maybe person. As children, we have imagination in plentiful supply, and we believe in the power of possibility. We look at a small grey rock, and we see a mammoth's foot. We have not yet been taught to default to the ordinary, the mundane, or the most plausible. Fast forward to 2010. I am 27 years old. I'm shopping with my best friend, Julia, and we find ourselves in the men's department. I'm holding a graphic tee with a photo of a semi-clad Kate Moss on it, which is apparently much too provocative to ever be offered in the women's section. Women are not ready for that kind of stuff. My best friend, Julia, is holding a double-breasted blazer with little patches on the elbows. And as you might have guessed, neither of these products fit our ladylike frames. Frustrated, I turn to Jules and say, "Wait, why can't you get a great blazer in the women's section? Why can't a women's graphic tee be graphic? Why are there gender rules for clothing? Jules, why don't we start a clothing company that allows women to wear whatever the hell they want?" Now, as my best friend, Julia's response probably should have been, "Yeah, right. Emma, we know literally nothing about e-commerce or merchandising or fulfillment or CPAs or LTVs. And Emma, I love you, but you are my least fashionable friend. And you consistently wear your pants too high. Fortunately for me, Julia's actual response was, yeah, maybe. I guess that could work. So we spend months working on this idea, doing consumer research, trying to think of a name for the business. We're pretty sure that we don't need to hire any staff because we're going to do it all ourselves. You can tell where this is going. And we're pretty sure that we don't need a website because we're just going to have a store. It didn't seem as funny at the time. And we're pretty sure that we don't need to raise any money. But I literally can't stop thinking about the idea. Every night when I go to bed, I tell myself, yeah, maybe, Emma, maybe this could work. Because maybe there are millions of women just like you that don't feel they belong anywhere. Women who want to rock menswear. Women who are feminine and masculine. Women who are strong and vulnerable. Women who aren't one thing because none of us really are. When we launched Wildfang, 22,000 women signed up in the first 30 days without us spending a single penny on advertising. Yes, we were wrong about not needing to hire staff. And yes, we were wrong about not needing a website in the 21st century. And yes, funnily enough, we were also wrong about not needing to raise any money. But we were right about something so much bigger. We were right that millions of women, just like us, were looking for a home. You see, each of us has a choice every single day to be a yeah, right person or a yeah, maybe person. We each have the power to see potential and possibility in the mundane, the ordinary, and the conventional. We can choose to see an unassuming grey rock or a mammoth's foot. We can choose to see menswear or a women's revolution. We have a choice to make because you can't change the world and operate firmly under the status quo. You gotta choose, yeah, right, or yeah, maybe. So what holds us back? If each of us is born a yeah, maybe person, what happens? Well, life happens. That's what happens. And getting good at living in the real world usually means we get bad at living in our imagination. We're busy. We don't have time to be creative. We've been taught to fear failure. We've been taught that being right is so much more important than generating a new idea. And at some point in our lives, we are all taught a set of rules. Rules about our gender, rules about our clothing, rules about our career choice. And man, it's hard to see past those rules. We become limited by what appears to be true rather than what's actually possible. Psychologists call this functional fixedness. Functional fixedness is when we become completely fixated on something's most common function, and we can't imagine that thing having any other purpose. We get stuck. Our thinking becomes constrained. Functional fixedness is the enemy of innovation. Let me give you an example. One January morning, in a DC subway, this man plays the violin during rush hour. In the 45 minutes that he plays, only a few people stop to listen. First, middle-aged man. Pauses before rushing on to work. Next up, a woman throws in a dollar bill, but she just keeps walking. Interestingly, the passerby who pays the violinist the most attention is a 3-year-old boy who stops and listens before his mum tugs his hand and sweeps him off to daycare. When the violinist finishes playing, no one notices. No one applauds. The violinist is Joshua Bell. He's one of the world's greatest musicians. And just 2 days earlier, he sold out Boston Symphony Hall. And those tickets were more expensive. Every day, functional fixedness makes it so hard to see past our conventional expectations. Every day, we get stuck. Every day, we struggle to say, yeah, maybe. Here's a really interesting fact. Children under 7 years old are immune to functional fixedness. They are not inhibited by it at all. Remember that 3-year-old boy on the subway? Remember that 7-year-old girl on the beach? Children aren't stuck. They're not bogged down by convention. They see infinite possibility all around them, which is really great for children. But we're not children. So how do each of us become a yeah, maybe person? How do we see past our functional fixedness? Okay, step 1. Only because I know you liked it a lot. Channel your inner child, and you better hope she's as good looking as this one. Studies show that if adults are primed to pretend that they're 7 years old, they are vastly more creative. In an experiment by Zabelina and Robinson, college students were split into 2 groups. The first group were told, school is cancelled for the day. What will you do? The second group got almost the same instructions, except they were told, you are 7 years old. School is cancelled for the day. What will you do? Both groups were then given a test of creative thinking. And guess what? The second group, who had pretended to be 7 years old, kicked ass. They were much more creative. And this effect is actually stronger in individuals who are introverted and less spontaneous. So that's great news for all my tech nerds in the audience. Secondly, in order to be a yeah, maybe person, you must surround yourself with other yeah, maybe people. That day on the beach, my mum had 2 choices. My best friend, same 2 choices. So let me ask you, are you surrounded by yeah, right people? Or yeah, maybe people? When you have a crazy idea, do the people around you say, yeah, right? Or yeah, maybe? Yeah, maybe allows ideas to flourish. Yeah, right suffocates them immediately. Finally, if you want to be a yeah, maybe person, make failure part of your MO. For those of us in startup, this is a familiar sequence of events. Let me remind you that in both my stories, I was wrong. Completely wrong. Not a little bit wrong, completely wrong. The rock was not a mammoth's foot, and the business I started did need staff, it did need a website, and funnily enough, it did need cash. But why do we equate being right with being successful? Why are we so afraid of failure when it almost inevitably leads to something better? My advice, faceplant all you like. Embrace failure, learn from it, because being right probably means that you miss out on your next big idea. Before I leave you guys today, I want to share with you one of the best letters that a Wildfang customer has ever sent us. Dear Wildfang, aka Cat and Other Awesome Lady. Don't you love it how you start a company and suddenly you're the other awesome lady? I am Alexis, and I'm one of your fans. You guys have inspired me to not be scared to be a tomboy. So, for my 11th birthday, my mum bought me a tomboy shirt, a tomboy hat, and a tomboy sweatshirt. I'm a very athletic person. I play 5 sports: baseball, football, basketball, soccer, and lacrosse. Whew. And on my 2 flag football teams, I'm the only girl. I would really like to meet you guys, if that's okay. I don't have any friends that are girls. Will you guys be my friends? All of my friends are boys. Will you guys be my first friends that are girls? You guys are awesome. From Alexis, P.S. You guys are my heroes. Please write back. Hashtag GameFace, hashtag Wildfang, hashtag We Are Wildfang. Now, earlier this year, I went through a really hard patch with the business. I'd been negotiating a retail space in LA for about 3 or 4 months, and it fell through. And I'd been fundraising for about 5 months, and I'd been rejected by over 70 investors. I had about 5 weeks of cash left in the business, and 24 people who depend on me for their income. I was so stressed out, and I was really, really sad. And I pulled out this letter, and I reread it. And that was when it hit me. The young girl who wrote me this letter was the same young girl who found the dinosaur bone on the beach that day. Neither of them were stuck. Neither of them struggled to see possibility. Neither of them were afraid to take a risk. And in these words, I found the courage to return to my yeah, maybe self. Embracing these 2 words will radically change the way you live your life. I promise you that these 2 words are the only thing that stands between you and your next big idea. Sometimes when you're a yeah, maybe person, it means you end up finding a dinosaur bone or starting your own business. And sometimes when you're a yeah, maybe person, it means you end up right here at TEDxPortland listening to the CEO of your favorite company tell everyone that you are her inspiration when she needs it most. Some people will see a rock. Others, a mammoth's foot. Some people will see menswear. Others, a women's revolution. Some people will see a CEO. Others, their new best friend. So, is there a dinosaur bone in your future? Yeah, maybe.